Show with Alex C. A sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. And now, here is Alex C.
Here we go. It is the Yay or Nay Show with Alex C., a sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. Okay, so we got a lot of things to cover, a lot of things to talk about. The beautiful thing about football season, it is a never-ending story of drama, of heartbreak, of craziness, of the unexpected. All kinds of things pop up all the time. Now, I like to talk about things that not necessarily are things that everybody else is talking about. I have a big takeaway from the college football weekend. Of course, we'll get into the NFL and all that, and we're definitely going to have a lot of discussions about that as the week progresses and we get ready for week number 3, starting with Thursday Night Football. But I want to talk today about college football again because I like to talk about things that other people are not talking about. And one of the things that I want to talk about is this. UCLA took a big loss to Fresno State. Okay, first of all, UCLA should not have lost a game to a school like Fresno State. No disrespect to Fresno State intended, but let's be realistic. You are not built or meant to compete against a school like UCLA. You're just not there. That's not what your program is. That's not what you're about. And that's not what you're built to compete with. However, not only did you compete, but you dominated the game and you won by dropping a 40-point game against UCLA, beating them 40-37. And again, that should have never happened when UCLA is coming off of a signature win over LSU, a game that most people said you were going to lose. You were going to still have a great season, but you were going to lose against a big perennial powerhouse like LSU. You beat LSU, and yet you fall to a small school like Fresno State, and you didn't just fall to them, you got destroyed by them. You got dominated by them. They dominated you in every facet of the game, and you lose 40-37. Now, again, is that the big story? No, it is a piece of the story that we're going to get into. Now, I'm going to give you a little yay or nay into this particular topic, and then I'm going to go on a rant in regards to what my thoughts are in regards to this particular topic. And here's the topic. Chip Kelly. Should Chip Kelly be given an ultimatum in regards to his coaching position at UCLA? Now, there is some yay or nay to this. I've had several conversations in regards to this particular topic with a lot of people, again, in chat rooms, in rideshare, and things of that nature. I've had a lot of different conversations because after this loss, it made me start to ask the question, should Chip Kelly be given an ultimatum considering they just lost to Fresno State after defeating LSU, a game they shouldn't have won, and then they lose to Fresno State, a game that they should have won. So should the athletic director give an ultimatum to Chip Kelly? Now, let's talk about some of the yay or nay. So I've had people say nay, that they should not give Chip Kelly an ultimatum, and the reason why they should not give him an ultimatum is because they just had a signature win over LSU, something UCLA has not done in a really long time. And this is the best recruiting class that he has had since his tenure at UCLA. So things are on the upswing when you look at the UCLA football program. Best recruiting class, signature win, those are big things. A potential run at the Pac-12 title. Again, another big thing that could happen for Chip Kelly and the UCLA program. So there are a lot of people that in regards to whether an ultimatum should be delivered to Chip Kelly are saying nay because of those reasons. Now, on the flip side, you have some people that are saying yay, an ultimatum should be delivered. Again, some of the same topics are covered. You had a signature win over LSU. Again, a game you should not have won. However, you then lost a game against Fresno State, a game that you should have won handily, and instead you lose and you get dominated by Fresno State, and that should never happen. So when that happens, you got to look at UCLA as well. It's just the same old UCLA Bruins. That's what the people who are saying yay, that there should be an ultimatum delivered to Chip Kelly, and they're given that as the reason why, because again, it's the same old UCLA Bruins. You just lost a game you shouldn't have lost. that seems to be something that has been happening for years and years and years, and it's continued to happen even after the hiring of Chip Kelly. There's been games you should have won and you lost. Okay. And now you do the same thing and you have the best recruiting class you've ever had, and you still lost a game that you shouldn't have lost. So again, for the people that are nay, they're saying, look, they got a shot at the Pac-12 and they won a game signature-wise that they shouldn't have won against LSU. Things are on the uptick. Things are looking great. If you can win the Pac-12 title, that would just be another feather in your cap and would be the cap off to a great season for the UCLA Bruins. And then again, on the A side for Deliver the Ultimatum, you had the signature win, but then you have the signature loss. And that shouldn't happen. You've had a lot of signature losses during your 3-year tenure. And even though you have the best recruiting class and you're coming off a signature win, you still had yet another signature loss. And your overall record is 12-21 as the head coach of UCLA. Okay, so now I've given you the yay, I've given you the nay. Now I'm going to give you what is my take in regards to this situation, which is simply this. Look, UCLA's been bad for a while. You brought in Chip Kelly because he has a system, and his system is supposed to give you the same results that Oregon had under his tenure. His system made Oregon a top 10 ranked team and a potential college playoff team. And other coaches have come in and they've mimicked his system, and they've had top 10 ranked teams in Oregon, and they have been a threat to make the playoff. And even this year, Oregon is still enjoying success with the Chip Kelly system. So the guy who created the system, who fundamentally designed the system, who took the system and basically wrote the book on it, and now you're at UCLA for 3 years, you're 12-21, you get a signature win, but you got it against an LSU team that people really, in all honesty, were suspect in regards to their ranking, in regards to their viability, in regards to being an SEC powerhouse. A lot of people doubt the coach. They think that coach is in jeopardy of his job. They think it should have been in jeopardy, but the only thing that saved it was a certain quarterback who now is in the NFL. So that's the reason why he still has his job, but he's not going to have it for much longer. And you beat a coach who's on his way out on a program who's on their way down. Okay, that's what really happened. You beat a program on the way down with a coach who was already contending for his job, still is, probably might lose it after this season in all honesty, and then you lose to another team that you shouldn't lose to because you've had signature losses in the past and you continue to have signature losses. So my take on this is, yes, there should be an ultimatum delivered. Absolutely, wholeheartedly, without a doubt, there should be an ultimatum that is delivered to Chip Kelly, and it should say this. If next year we have another signature loss, you're out. Simple as 1, 2, 3. With a signature win, without a signature win, if you have another signature loss, you're out. It's time to move on. Why? You're not only trying to win the Pac-12 as a Pac-12 team. Let's be realistic. A real school with a real program with a real desire to win is not interested in just being the Pac-12 champions. That is a benchmark. It's a goal, but it's a very short-term goal because you're looking at winning a division that is one of the weakest in football. You're barely above the WAC. So if the Pac-12 is barely above the WAC, why would it be the ultimate cap and a feather to win the Pac-12? Winning the Pac-12 means nothing. You don't see the Pac-12 teams winning any national titles or being in the playoff, not often. Oregon, the real only representative, they got embarrassed. Washington, they got embarrassed. So you haven't seen anybody go in there and be competitive. You haven't seen anybody go in there and make a name like Oklahoma or Alabama or anybody who not only if they make it, they're worried about them winning it. Ohio State, right? If anybody sees a Washington or an Oregon in the name of the playoffs for the college football championship, everybody knows they're going to get bounced out first game they play. So being the Pac-12 champions is not enough. And when you got signature losses for 3 years in a row, and if they give you a fourth year and you go in and you get another signature loss, you got to go because you're not going to be competing for a national championship. And a national championship, that is the ultimate goal. That is what it is all about. And if you can't deliver a national championship, if you can't deliver a Pac-12 school to be competitive to win a national championship like Oregon currently is doing, even if it looks like they might get bounced out early, then you got to go. And Oregon, by the way, might not get bounced out early this year because it looks like there are chinks in the armor when it comes to Oklahoma, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia. All these teams have weaknesses. So this year, in all honesty, if Oregon can manage to make it into the college playoff, I'll be honest, I think they got a real shot to win the national championship because there are a lot of weaknesses in Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame. They're beatable. They are all beatable this year for whatever the reason is. And maybe I'll dive into it a little more in a future podcast. But for whatever the reason is, all those SEC powerhouses and all of the people who you are used to seeing in the college playoffs, they all got weaknesses and they're all beatable. So if Oregon can manage to win their way in, they got a shot at being the national champs this year. Something that UCLA cannot say because they've already lost the game, and they lost the game in a signature loss fashion. So again, the ultimatum that should be delivered to Chip Kelly is you get another signature loss, you're fired. Time for you to go. Simple as 1, 2, 3. That's the message that should be delivered to all coaches in the Pac-12 because the Pac-12 is the weakest division in football. It is literally one of the weakest divisions in the alleged Power 5 conferences. And if you can't even win the Pac-12 and become competitive to get yourself in the conversation for the national title, and you have signature losses, and you've been there for 3 years already, and you get a signature win, again, on a program on the decline, on a coach who's probably on his way out, but you got the signature win because of the name of the school, because of the success they've had in the past, and then you get a signature loss like you've been doing for the full term that you've been the head coach of UCLA, there's no real reason to keep you. Then it's time to let you go. So I'm saying what none of the national guys are saying yet. I don't know why. Again, they're always late to the party. I always seem to be ahead of them, and I'm sure they'll catch up to me like they always do. But the bottom line is, it is time to let Chip Kelly know if you get another signature loss next year. We're not even talking about this year. If you get another signature loss this year is already blown because you got one loss, so it kind of doesn't matter. You want to finish as strong as you can, but if you get like one more signature loss this year, I wouldn't be mad at it. It wouldn't elevate my blood pressure, wouldn't make me want to fire you more because one more this year will be acceptable because next year is the year that I, as the athletic director of UCLA, am demanding perfection. So if you lose one more this year, that's workable, that's doable, but you better be in the fight for the Pac-12 title. You better be looking at winning the Pac-12 title this year. You better be winning the Pac-12 title or competing to win the Pac-12 title this year. Even if you end up with one more crazy signature loss, you better be in the hunt for the Pac-12 title some way, somehow this year. And next year, you better be in perfection mode. No signature losses, signature wins, moving on from the Pac-12 champs to work your way into the national championship conversation and ultimately the playoff itself. That would be my expectations and my ultimatum that I would be delivering as the athletic director to Chip Kelly. Absolutely, without a doubt. Okay, now let's move on secondarily to what I'm calling the highlights of week 2 of the NFL Sunday weekend, because what I've seen so far, obviously we still have to go through Monday night, and we've got to see what happens in the Monday night game between Green Bay and Detroit, and we'll talk a little bit about that here in a moment. But in regards to week 2, a couple of things that stand out. Number one, the Cardinals got lucky. Do I think the Arizona Cardinals are for real? No. Do I think they're better than I thought originally? Yes, they are better than what I thought. I'll give them all the credit in the world for that. Do I think they are a playoff contention team? No, they're not. Now, with that being said, they got lucky, and let me emphasize the word, they got lucky in the win that they got yesterday against Minnesota. Now, you can't take the win away for the reason of they fought hard, they fought all game long, they were in the game all day long, but they did not deserve to win that game. That chip shot of a field goal being missed was a fluke, shouldn't have happened. There were other coaching bad decisions that were made in regards to the very ending of that game. For instance, they should have run a couple more plays, got even closer, made it an even easier chip shot. But nonetheless, you run the clock down. You got a last-second shot to win it. Your chip shot is missed. That doesn't happen often. That was just a stroke of luck. Congratulations, Cardinals. You got lucky. You really should be 1-1 right now. Minnesota really should be 1-1 right now. But you won, and you take the win. You fought hard. Nobody could say you didn't, but you did not deserve the win yesterday. You got it. Congratulations. You're 2-0, but you are still fool's gold. You are not a playoff-bound team, and I don't see anything that has shown me anything different. And I will break down the Cardinals later on this week in a future podcast, but I wanted to say that that was one of the notables. Another notable, LA Raiders. Could they be for real? The jury's still out, but it's definitely a conversation to have because they sure look good. They are the only team that on an odds-on deal were the team that was supposed to lose both of their first two games, and they came out on top on both of them. You know, they beat a good Pittsburgh Steelers team. Again, a Steelers team that I don't predict and did not predict was going to get a lot of wins this year. However, one of the wins that they should have got was over the Raiders, and they lost. And you got to wonder, how good are the Raiders? A lot of people are talking about their defense is showing up, something that nobody expected to happen. Steelers, Big Ben on the decline. Again, I said a long time ago, the Steelers should have got rid of Big Ben 6-7 years ago. He is 6-7 years overdue of being retired or becoming a backup quarterback. But the Steelers stuck with him for whatever the reason is, and they have shot themselves in the foot by keeping Big Ben. He is the Achilles heel for that team. But with that being said, the bottom line is the Raiders, they still got more to show me. The sample size is small, but so far I must admit I am impressed. John Gruden and his crew looking good right now. And they might prove me wrong. They might be for real. I'm not saying they are yet. The sample size is small, but they might be for real. Miami, Tua being out, they're done. They're over. Unfortunately, I thought if Tua could have stayed healthy with the coaching, especially with that coaching, that they would have been contenders. But it looks like that injury is going to knock them out. We don't know how long Tua is going to be gone for. I don't think it's been announced yet. But with Tua being gone, I'd say it's over for Miami. I don't see any other quarterbacks that you can go out there and sign that are going to be able to come in and make a big difference and make that team competitive. So I think Miami's going to be who they've always been. Unfortunately, New England, congratulations on your win. You didn't beat anybody impressive. You're still a rebuild. And I did predict you were going to win some games, but you're going to be one or two short for making the playoffs, and I don't see anything that changes my mind in any way, shape, or form. Kansas City, Baltimore, you know what? Congratulations to Baltimore. I did say, look, they had some holes. They had a bunch of questions. They didn't have answers to those questions. I still don't think they have answers to the questions for all the injuries and stuff. I think I heard it's 15 players currently on the IR right now, but you got to win. But it's one of those games where sometimes you're up for a game and you win a game that you shouldn't win. We were just talking about that with UCLA beating LSU. Sometimes you got games that you win that you shouldn't win. This happened to be one of those games for Baltimore. I don't think you're going to see this on the regular from Baltimore. Too many injuries, too many problems. And I don't think that they're going to be able to continue to do this on a week in and week out basis. I think the Raiders are better than the Ravens at this point. In all honesty, if we're going to talk about how good the Ravens are, I think with all the questions, all the holes, all the injuries, I think the Ravens, this might be your signature win, and it might be one of very few. I don't think that I'm going to be able to keep the Ravens in the playoff hunt or in the hunt for the AFC Championship. I think I'm going to have to downgrade them to just being on the outside looking in as far as the playoffs go, because I don't think that Lamar Jackson's going to be able to carry the team into the playoffs, let alone make a run. He's not going to be able to do it on his own. It's not that hard to set your defense up to be ready for a one-dimensional offense team, especially when the one dimension is entirely one player. So I don't think it's that hard to adjust to. I think eventually people will have enough tape to be able to make the changes that they got to make. Plus, Baltimore has proven that they've got to get into a shootout to win. So Baltimore will put points on the board, but I don't think they're going to be able to get into a shootout week in and week out and continue to outshoot everybody that they play against. And I don't think they could do this twice against Kansas City, let alone 3 times if they met them in the playoffs. But again, they're not, because I believe I got to downgrade Baltimore. They're going to be just on the outside looking in. Matter of fact, I could probably replace them with Vegas if we're talking about what things would look like if we ended the season today. But if we ended the season today, looks like the injuries have hurt Baltimore way too much. I see way too many holes, way too many weaknesses in that defense. Offensively, I don't think that you're going to be able to see Baltimore get into shootouts and win shootouts week in and week out. But as far as any other notables from the week, I don't think there's really anything that's that notable. Dallas got a nice win, but I don't think that says anything about Dallas. I think the Chargers aren't as strong as I originally thought they were. I'm seeing too many holes and too many weaknesses in them. I don't know if it's the offensive play calling. I don't know if Justin Herbert has plateaued and he's not going to grow, because, again, you barely beat a Washington team with a backup quarterback. You barely beat them 20-16. Then you lose to Dallas, and that just shouldn't happen when you're going to be an AFC playoff team. So I think that LA could possibly maybe still, if they can navigate through the tough part of the season and whatever growing pains they're currently going in, because it is still early in the season. Again, no preseason. Starters don't play the preseason. I did say that the first 3 or 4 weeks looks like it's going to be preseason. And then after week 4, I think teams are going to start to figure it out. And you're really going to start to see who the teams are after week 4. But even with that being said, unless something drastically improves for the Chargers, they might still make the playoffs like I originally predicted. However, I don't see them making a deep run. So they might still maybe make the playoffs, but I do not see them making a deep run. I just don't. So as far as any other notables from the week, there really aren't any. Nobody else really did anything that made me say wow or ooh or awe. There were some great games. There was some great competition. But I don't see anything that made me jump up and down other than what I've already talked about. Tonight's game. Lions and the Packers. Here's the thing about this one. So, again, I still say that Green Bay's a dumpster fire. I know the national guys are just salivating, can't wait to see a victory over the Detroit Lions so they can scream about how Aaron's back and everybody was hitting the panic button is crazy and off their rocker, and they should have never been saying anything about Green Bay being done and over with or anything like that. Oh, they don't know what they're talking about. Aaron Rodgers is the man. He is somebody who you should never doubt. Okay, even if, let me put this out there, even if Aaron Rodgers and the Packers win tonight, they're still a dumpster fire. You're beating the worst team in football. That's nothing to write home about. It's nothing to brag about. And here's the other thing. I smell an upset. Jared Goff looked good against San Francisco. Against San Francisco, who is easily a team that is far superior to the Green Bay Packers. And Jared Goff looked good going against San Francisco. So I smell an upset. I think Jared Goff in Detroit just maybe might be able to pull this off. It's going to be a close game. I feel it in my gut. It's going to be a close game. Jared Goff is going to make it a close game. Jared Goff is fighting for his football life and his football career right now. And Detroit is fighting for respect. And they got a chance to do it against a team that's in dissension, in a disinterested Aaron Rodgers, and a team who probably, in all honesty, what looks to be a team that doesn't look interested in playing with Aaron Rodgers. So I think the national guys once again got it all wrong, because I think you got a team that doesn't want to play with Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers isn't interested either. He's looking past the season. He's looking towards next season. He's trying to think of what team he's going to play for next year. Maybe he's going to make some demands and say he'll only play for this team or that team. And maybe that's what he's thinking about, but he's not thinking about this year. He's not thinking about winning a title with the Green Bay Packers this year. And he's disinterested. And I think the team is disinterested in him. And I think there is a big rift between him and the coaching staff. Irregardless of what Aaron says, you could see it when he does the interviews. There is a rift. All right. And he's all about talking about how everything is everybody else's fault, and it's not Aaron's fault in any way, shape, or form. There is a rift. You can see it. You can hear it. And I think Detroit has a chance to expose it and pounce on it and upset the Packers tonight. And I think they just might do it. All right, that's going to do it for today. We'll talk tomorrow. We'll talk, obviously, about tonight's Packer-Lions game. You guys have a great day.